I have always been the responsible one in my family, the eldest child, the dependable daughter, the one who never says no. While my siblings were allowed to chase their dreams, make mistakes, and even be reckless, I was the anchor that kept everything stable. I paid bills when my father's job wasn't enough. I signed my brother's first car loan when he had no credit history. I covered my sister's tuition shortfall when my parents said, "She deserves to study without stress." Somehow, it became my role, the provider. And the truth, I never complained, because I loved them, or at least I thought I did. Last year, after receiving a big promotion at work, I felt proud of myself in a way I hadn't for years. Finally, I wasn't just surviving paycheck to paycheck. I had extra, enough to do something special. And the first thought that came to mind wasn't buying something for myself. It was giving back to my family. They always talked about wanting to go on a proper family vacation. Not the short weekend drives or cheap motels, but a real vacation. Somewhere with beaches, sunsets, and endless laughter. So, I decided to give it to them. I spent nights researching resorts, flights, activities. I compared reviews, scrolled through travel blogs, and even called my mom to ask if she preferred mountains or beaches without telling her why. When I finally booked the all-inclusive, week-long trip to Cancun, I was buzzing with excitement. I pictured it all, us laughing by the poolside, sipping tropical drinks, my mom finally relaxing without cooking or cleaning, my siblings joking and running on the sand, my dad actually unwinding with a smile on his face. It wasn't just a vacation. It was my love letter to them. The day I revealed it, I remember my hands shaking with excitement. We were at the dinner table, and I said, "I have a surprise. Next month, we're all going to Cancun. Flights, resort, everything. I already paid for it." The room went silent for a second before it erupted into cheers. My mom gasped, my dad clapped me on the back, and my siblings squealed like kids. I felt tears sting my eyes. That moment, seeing their faces light up, made every late night at work, every sacrifice, feel worth it. But weeks passed, no one mentioned the trip again. I figured they were busy, or maybe they thought I'd handle all the details. I didn't mind. I had already done most of the work. Then, one afternoon, about a month later, I casually asked my mom, "So, should we plan what to pack for Cancun?" I was thinking of making a checklist. Her response froze me. She looked up from her phone, completely casual, and said, "Oh, honey, the whole family went last week." At first, I thought I misheard. My stomach clenched and I laughed nervously. "Wait, what? What do you mean?" She repeated it calmly, almost like it was no big deal. "We all went last week. Your dad, your brother, your sister, and me. It was wonderful. The air left my lungs. You went without me, but I paid for it. I booked it. That was supposed to be—" "Oh, sweetheart, don't make a big deal," she interrupted. "You've been so busy with work, and we didn't want to bother you. We thought you'd prefer to stay back." "Prefer to stay back?" I sat there, trembling, as if the ground had crumbled beneath me. That night, I couldn't sleep. I just lay in bed replaying her words. The whole family went last week. They went. Without me, on a vacation I paid for. The betrayal felt like a knife twisting in my chest. It wasn't just about missing the trip. It was about what it meant. I wasn't part of the whole family. I was the wallet, the provider, the outsider who funded their happiness but wasn't invited to share it. I thought back to all the times I had put them first, paying off my dad's credit card debt, covering my brother's rent when he got fired, buying groceries for the house even when I barely had enough for myself. Every memory suddenly felt poisoned, like I had been a fool all along. I remembered my mom once saying, "You're our rock." At the time, it sounded like love. Now, it sounded like chains. The pain kept coming in waves, anger, then grief, then disbelief. I cried until my eyes swelled shut. The next morning, when I saw photos on my sister's Instagram, her in a bikini, cocktail in hand, with the caption, "Best family trip ever" read. I felt my soul crack. Best family trip ever, except their daughter who paid for it wasn't there. I confronted them. I called my mom and demanded an explanation. She sighed as if I was being dramatic. "Honey, don't ruin this. It was just a trip. We deserved it. You work so much. You wouldn't have enjoyed it." I wouldn't have enjoyed it. The excuses were endless, each one a slap in the face. That was the moment I realized something brutal. I wasn't loved for me. I was valued for what I provided, and once that truth hit, something inside me shifted. The tears dried. The anger hardened into resolve. They had shown me my place. Now I was going to show them what happened when I stepped out of it. Revenge isn't always loud. Sometimes it's as quiet as pulling away. I didn't yell. I didn't curse. I didn't even argue anymore. I just stopped paying their bills, stopped answering every call, stopped being their safety net. At first, they didn't notice. They were still glowing from their trip, posting group photos, pretending everything was perfect. But weeks later, when my brother's car payment bounced and my mom hinted about a little help with groceries, they started to feel the change. I kept my answers polite but firm. "I can't help with that." When guilt trips followed, I stayed silent. Meanwhile, I made plans for myself, for once just myself. I booked a solo trip to Cancun, same resort, same destination, but this time it was mine. I splurged on the best suite, private excursions, spa treatments. I even arranged for a photographer to take professional pictures of me. Every sunset I watched, every cocktail I sipped, I felt lighter. The ocean washed away years of obligation, years of carrying their weight. For the first time, I wasn't someone's provider. I was just me. I posted the photos online, smiling, glowing, alive. My captions were pointed but calm. Sometimes the best family you can take on vacation is yourself. This time, I made sure not to forget anyone important. Me. The reactions were immediate. Friends cheered me on. Strangers left kind comments, but my family, silent until the bills piled up. That was when the calls came. Angry, desperate, demanding. "How could you abandon us? We're family." The word made me laugh bitterly. The final confrontation came one evening when my mom called, her voice sharp with anger. "We need you to step up again. Your father's hours got cut, your brother's struggling, and your sister, well, she's stressed. We can't do this without you." For a moment, the old me almost cracked. Almost, but then I remembered sitting alone while they sipped margaritas on the trip I paid for. I remembered the hollow ache in my chest when I realized I wasn't part of their joy. So I steadied my voice and said, "No." Her silence was deafening. "No. What do you mean, no?" "I mean I'm done. You excluded me from the vacation I paid for. You showed me exactly what I mean to you, a wallet. That day, I stopped being your safety net. I'm not your bank. I'm not your rock. I'm not your fool. I'm done." She sputtered, tried to twist it into guilt. "We're your family, and I'm your daughter, but you forgot that when you boarded that plane without me." For the first time, I hung up on her. It hurt, yes, betrayal always does, but the pain faded, replaced by something far sweeter, freedom. Now, months later, I've built a new circle. Friends who actually invite me, who value me for who I am, not what I can give. I travel often, I invest in myself, and I laugh more than I ever thought I would. My revenge wasn't screaming or cutting them off with fury. My revenge was happiness, living well, living free, and every time I see those Cancun photos on my wall, I smile, because it reminds me of the moment I finally chose me.